The Idries Shah Foundation podcast. Practical Psychology for Today. Featuring the works of Idries Shah, voiced by David Alt. Welcome to the Idries Shah Foundation podcast. In this edition of the podcast, we present excerpts from Thinkers of the East by Idries Shah. This audio has been made available by the Idries Shah Foundation. Dismissal. Someone said to Behuddin Naqshband, "It must have caused you pain to dismiss a certain student." He said, "The best of all ways to test and help a disciple, if it is possible, may be to dismiss him. If he then turns against you, he has a chance of observing his own shallowness and the defects which led to the dismissal. If he forgives you, he has an opportunity of seeing whether in that there is any sanctimoniousness. If he regains his balance, he will be able to benefit this matter of ours, the teaching, and especially to benefit himself." Words of Israel of Bokhara. The teaching is like air. Man dwells in it, but cannot realize by real feeling that but for it he would be dead. He can see air only when it is polluted, as in smoke rising, and by its effects. He sees polluted air, breathes it, and imagines that it is a pure substance. Deprived of it, he dies. But when he is choking, he has hallucinations, and hopes for remedies when what he needs is the restoration of air. He may become aware of it, and profit more from it, by realizing that it is a common substance treated with such heedlessness that nobody observes its presence. Lands of the Gurus. A certain merchant visiting a Sufi said to him, "Some countries are absolutely full of gurus, spiritual teachers with formulas and doctrines of a certain kind. Why are there so few Sufi chiefs of local circles? Why is it that even these, when they are publicly known, turn out to be mere imitators or repeaters of exercises handed down by someone else?" The Sufi said, "These are two questions, but they have one and the same answer. India, for instance, is full of gurus and shrine worshippers, and public Sufis of real truth are more than rare because the gurus and their followers are at play and the Sufis are at work. Without the Sufi work, humanity would die out. India is a land of snake charmers. Public gurus are man charmers. They amuse the people. The secret saints work for the people. The activity of man is to seek the secret teachers. The activity of children is to seek amusement. Have you not observed the flocks of former disciples of gurus who daily surround us, and the fact that not 1 in 100 can be admitted, for they have been taught to enjoy something which they should have been taught to learn instead?" Nili. Someone found out that Nili was giving his disciples exercises and music and entertainments, as well as encouraging them to read books and to meet in exotic places. This critic said to the sage, "I forget how many years it is that you have worked against such superficialities and fripperies. Now I discover that you are using them in your pretended teaching. Abandon this practice forthwith, or explain it to me." Nili said, "I have neither to abandon nor to explain, but I am glad to tell you. This is the reason. I give exercises to people who can understand what they are for. Most people do not, and they are like people who have gone to the restaurant and fallen in love with the cook instead of eating the soup. People listen to music with the wrong ear, so I deny them music until they can benefit from it, not make play of it. Until they know what it is for, They consume music like people warming their hands at a fire which could be cooking something. As for environment, certain atmospheres are cultivated by aesthetes, who thus deprive themselves of their further value and teach others to stop before they have gained anything of real worth. These are like people who have gone on a pilgrimage and can think only about the number of steps which they have taken. As to exercises, I cannot give them to anyone any more than I can allow them to read books, until they learn that there is a deeper content than the shallowness which smells the aroma of fruit, and then forgets that it is there to be eaten. Nobody objects to the smelling, but all would soon be dead if they refused to eat. How man is sustained. Imam Putzir announced, "People visit the teacher of the age to gain what are really small advantages. Did they but realize it, they should build upon the great advantages which they have always been given already by the teacher of the age. The greatest of these is that the whole human community, not just a flock of believers, only continues to exist in physical form because of the work and the life of the teacher of the age. This is such an astonishing and unlikely fact that it is called, by the elect, the secret which is completely concealed by its immediate unlikelihood." Jan Fishan and the Seeker. A man came to Jan Fishan and said, "I have followed many masters, and I am in contact with a great number of wise people. Please give me your own attention and help." Jan Fishan said, "I can best help you by pointing out that you are being false to even one master, let alone many, if you are still wandering about and applying to me after you have found them. I can best serve you, if indeed you do know such masters, by beseeching you to return to one of them and really learning. If you had learnt anything, it would tell you not to run between two wells, like the thirsty and covetous dog which ultimately perished, not of thirst, but of exhaustion." Then Jan Fishan read the following passage from Munaqib al-Arifin. Maulana Shamsuddin Multi reports that Rumi said one day during a discourse that he loved Multi greatly, but that he had one fault. Multi begged to be told what it was. Rumi said it was to imagine that all kinds of things and people were of spiritual merit. He recited, "Since many men have the inwardness of Satan, should one hail everyone as a saint? When your inward eye is opened, the real master can then be perceived." When Multi's inner eye was opened, Rumi recited this verse and ordered all his disciples to commit it to memory. "In this marketplace of occult medicine sellers, do not run hither and thither from shop to shop, but rather sit at the booth of the one who has the real remedy to give." Objectors. People used to accuse Rumi of having strayed from the right path in allowing and encouraging plays, songs, and music and other unusual activities. He never answered these objections, according to Munaqib al-Arifin, but other sources report him as saying, "The accounts are always made up at the end of the day. Let us see, when a sufficient space of time has passed, whether it is our work which is remembered, or the names of our critics. Everyone knows that there are lions and jackals. Although in modern times many jackals have induced people to believe that they are lions, the ancient rules always operate over the run of time. You have heard many stories which say, 'There was once a lion.' How many do you hear which begin, 'There was once a jackal'?" Exclusion. Rais el-Aflak, the Lord of the Skies, who suddenly appeared in Afghanistan and then disappeared after giving a number of cryptic lectures, said, "Almost all the men who come to see me have strange imaginings about man. The strangest of these is the belief that they can progress only by improvement. Those who will understand me are those who realize that man is just as much in need of stripping off rigid accretions to reveal the knowing essence as he is of adding anything. Man thinks always in terms of inclusion into a plan of people, teachings, and ideas. Those who really are the wise know that the teaching may be carried out by exclusion of those things which make man blind and deaf." The Philosopher's Stone. It is reported that Rumi, as a demonstration, endowed an ordinary stone with such characteristics that those who saw it thought that it was a ruby. Taken to a jeweler, it was sold for over 100,000 dirhams. But talking of transmutation, Rumi himself said, "Using the stone of the philosopher to convert copper into gold is indeed wonderful. More wonderful still is the fact that, moment by moment, the philosopher's stone, man, is converted into copper by his own heedlessness." Barbary and the Imitator. The dervish Barbary, posing as a disciple, regularly attended the weekly meetings of an imitation Sufi who imagined that he was teaching the real way. Every time the dervish appeared at the meeting, he asked the supposed Sufi a ridiculous question. After he had had to snap at him several hundred times, the pretender shouted at Barbary, "You have been coming here for 12 years, and all your absurd questions are only variations of the one which you have just asked." "Yes, I know," said Barbary, "but the delight which I get from seeing you so annoyed is my only vice." Iskandar of Balkh. His son asked Iskandar of Balkh on his deathbed, "What is the source of your power, your wealth, and your miracles?" His father murmured, "If I were to tell you, it would cut you off from contact with this source, so I cannot tell you where it is, only what it is." He continued, "Our lifeline is the Sufi way, and we are strangers as it were among savages on this earth. But now I go to join our own." His son said, "Why did you not tell everyone this during your life? For this example of yours, which will live 1,000 years, would cause men to enter the Sufi way in throngs, and would give them the blessings of the elect." Iskandar sighed and said, "The greed to possess a secret would make most of them attracted, and the desire for more than others have got. My son, I taught abstemiousness all my life, in the hope that it would still the covetousness which destroys man, even if he covets goodness." "Then what shall I do?" asked his son. "You shall desire truth for its own sake, and nothing for your own sake." "But how shall I know whether I am desiring something for myself, and not for itself?" "You shall become aware, through daily practice, that what you imagine to be yourself is concocted from beliefs put into you by others, and is not yourself at all. You shall seek the teacher of the age until you find him, and if you fail to recognize the leader of the epoch, it will be because you inwardly reject him, not because he is not evident as what he is." This is the testimony of the great Sufi Suleiman Najami, the son of Iskandar of Balkh. Giving it to his own son, he said, "In a long life, I cannot say that I have learned more than this, my father's bequest of wisdom to me. I do therefore offer it to you." Ali, son of the father of the seeker. Ali said, "None may arrive at the truth until he is able to think that the path itself may be wrong. This is because those who can only believe that it must be right are not believers, but people who are incapable of thinking otherwise than they already think. Such people are not men at all. Like animals, they must follow certain beliefs, and during this time they cannot learn. Because they cannot be called humanity, they cannot arrive at the truth." This podcast is copyright 2016, the Idries Shah Foundation.